One of my favorite places in the Pacific Northwest, the most charming little seaside village, is Langley, Washington. Langley is on the south end of Whidbey Island, just a 20-minute ferry ride plus a 35-minute drive from Seattle. And if you love mysteries, if you are a true crime or murder podcast junkie, you're going to want to spend the weekend in Langley, February 21st and 22nd for Mystery Weekend, where locals and visitors run around town collecting clues, living in a story that local writers have created, interacting with costume characters, trying to solve the big mystery. The clues are planted in local shops, like Grey Horse Mercantile, a dreamy specialty food shop that sells cheeses, my favorite brands of chocolate and tin fish, the Star Store, a Langley classic, and Beer Cutery for more cheese and chocolate and beverages. Book a place to stay and spend the whole weekend solving mysteries, eating great food, and maybe even winning big prizes. Plan your trip and learn more about Mystery Weekend at visitlangley.com. That's visitlangley.com. Welcome to The Leftovers. I'm Rachel Bell. The Leftovers is audio left on the cutting room floor from last week's Your Last Meal interview. And today you'll hear never before heard cuts from best-selling author, critic, and journalist Chuck Klosterman, who just released a new book called Football. Being a journalist, Chuck asks the hard questions, like this one that I was not expecting.
I was curious why you wanted me on this podcast, to be honest. I mean, it's very interesting to me. I'm very flattered. But like, I read about a book about football. Why would I be on this podcast?
If you missed last week's episode, I recommend pausing this one and going back to listen to that one first. But if you're all caught up, here is my lightning round with Chuck Klosterman. I'm going to do a lightning round with you before I let you go.
Great.
Number one, what is your perfect birthday cake?
It would actually be a pie. But if I got to pick a cake, I think bundt cakes are the best shape for a cake. And my favorite cake is red velvet. Now, I think red velvet is just chocolate cake with red dye in it. Is there anything?
Exactly. Yes.
But why does it taste different? Is it just like,
I don't know.
Because I know that it does. Now, it might be because the frosting they use with a red velvet cake is different than what they use for a chocolate cake. But I will always take that as my cake selection. It does seem different to me. The texture seems different to me, but that can't be, right?
I agree, though. I need to look into it. I've thought about this before and I haven't looked it up. It does taste different. I think it's sweeter.
I mean, this is if you get shakes from a restaurant and like there's a chocolate shake and a strawberry shake, but it's in a plastic container with you can't see the color of it. It is remarkably difficult to tell the difference between like a chocolate shake and a strawberry shake in a way that's baffling. Like it's like, it doesn't seem like it should be. It does make me wonder how much the optical experience with food actually does affect these things.
Yes. I interviewed someone this week who runs this program across the U.S. called Dining in the Dark, where people pay to come and sit down and be blindfolded for the whole meal. And the guy that I interviewed said that his girlfriend thought that she was eating meat and it was pasta, which really was weird to me. I was like, what shape was it in? And he said it was strands. I'm like, what kind of meat strands did she think? But I think visualizing it is a big part of it.
I do. So red velvet, I guess, is my take for that.
Okay. In your book at the beginning, you mentioned keeping your football cards as a kid in an empty Velveeta cheese box. I was wondering if there was any other food packaging that either you utilized or things that stood out to you. Like, for example, I noticed recently that the animal crackers boxes don't have a string on it anymore, a little handle. And when I was in high school, we thought it was really cool to use it as a purse. And so when I saw the string missing, I was like, oh, you can't use it as a purse anymore. I wondered if you had any other relationships to food packaging.
That's actually a good one because you always did play with, because it had animals on the front too.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a toy. Other packagings that were utilized for other purposes. I remember this isn't food. I remember utilizing like the paper towel cardboard roll to be like a telescope.
Yeah.
You use that for stuff like that. The cheese boxes were good for keeping cards. They were the perfect size for that. But outside, I mean, I think sometimes maybe like a Cool Whip container You
Mm,
could flip it over and like you could make it like a little igloo or a house out of it. I feel like
yeah.
maybe one time for a science or like from school project on like Native American culture, I had to utilize Cool Whip containers in some way, but I got nothing that just, I mean, I'll
Yeah.
probably think while we're talking, but
Because I was also thinking about how famous the butter cookie tins, those Danish butter cookie tins have become because so many grandmas across so many cultures use them as their sewing boxes. Like most of the time when you open them up, there's not going to be any cookies in there. Chuck and his family moved to Portland, Oregon from New York City in 2017, a city famous for its creative, envelope-pushing, delicious food scene. You say Portland is supposed to be a great food town, but all restaurants make the same mistake.
They do. I mean, I'm a simple guy. Maybe this, I'm a caveman or whatever. This is part. But when I go to a restaurant in Portland, I have the same experience over and over again. I see something that I want, and then inevitably it's like, oh, we do that our way. Like we have our style on this. Like if someone goes to a restaurant, it's a nice restaurant, but there are chicken wings that you can get as an appetizer. The person who orders that doesn't want them covered in chives. They don't want them made in fish sauce. And in Portland, there's just this obsession with this.
Actually, a lot of us do want fish sauce and chives on our chicken wings.
I think we've gotten away from like the core reason people go to a restaurant. You go to a restaurant because you have this incredible opportunity. Someone gives you a piece of paper with all the foods that they offer, and you pick one and they'll bring it to you. I don't like it when they come to your table and they're like, well, these are all made to share, and we bring them out when they're ready and all this. It's like, that's not, I want to be able to say, I want this, and it will come out when it's done, along with everybody else's, and we'll eat it, But in Portland, they're trying, they complicate the best things about the experience.
You are living in the wrong town, my friend, because you're living in like one of the most innovative food hubs, and you want classics is what you're saying.
Yes. Well, when I lived in New York, man, it's like, it was like you went to a French restaurant and you ordered something and it's like, you got what it said.
Yes.
Like it was, and it was competitive because there are so many restaurants in New York that if it's not good, it's good. Your restaurant's going to fail.
Yeah.
Everything in Portland seems like an experiment. It seems like some kind of experiment they're doing, like a social experiment to see. It's like, I wonder if people would like pancakes just as much if they were savory, if there was lots of salt. These things have been, created over hundreds of years, or at least dozens of decades. I've never been impressed by a food that I wanted that was made differently that turned out to be something I never expected I wanted. That's never happened to me. Yeah.
I think maybe part of it for you is based on expectation, because if you are going to one of these trendy places, I would expect it to be some razzle dazzle version that they made up. But, if you're going, I'm trying to think, like if you go to Denny's, I can see where it's like, hey, I want what I want and I don't want this to be messed with. What is a book when you were a kid that got you excited about reading and writing?
The book that in this capacity, what you're specifically describing probably was Animal Farm by George Orwell. I read it at a relatively young age. So it's a simple story and it's a short book and it involves these animals and it seems like a fairy tale, but it's obviously about something else. And it sort of changed my view about the fact that, because I think a problem I think a lot of writers have, people particularly trying to write a book for the first time, don't be surprised if you find yourself in this situation where you start imagining that your book has to somehow fit into the history of writing, that your book needs to be like other books, or that like there's certain things you have to do or certain things a book is required to exist. But the fact of the matter is, what's great about writing is that you get to completely construct your own reality. There actually are no rules whatsoever. Like it's just all in the execution. It doesn't have to be like any other book. In fact, in a way, you should almost aspire to make a book that you have never seen before. So I think that book, in a way, the idea that it was like these animals having conversations about communism or whatever, it was like, I think that made me believe that writing was something that had no ceiling, that there was no hard ceiling to what you had to do. Like anything could be done, That's
really cool. Did you feel like you had a strong voice straight out of the gate?
guess the short, I mean, it sounds arrogant to say it. I guess I would say yes in a way. But it's the tough thing though. And here's what the tough element of that is when, say I've taught, did some instructing at like college classes and stuff for writing. And a common question that people have is like, well, how did you find your voice? Like, how do you find your voice? And the fact of the matter is that is something you cannot learn.
Right.
But the thing is, it's already inside of you. Mm-hmm. Every person has a writing voice built in to their personality, and it's just pulling it out. So it's like, I think maybe I was fortunate, and for whatever reason, it was easier for me to pull that out.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's arrogant at all. People speak a certain way. People write a certain way.
It's probably the most important quality in a weird way, because what people really want is to feel like this is coming from a person. The reason why so many bands, like their most popular records are their earliest records. And then they go through their career. And at the end of the career, they feel the work they're doing is the best they've ever done. Like Paul McCartney would say like, oh, these records I made, in the 21st century, they're better than Beatles records or whatever. And no one else feels that way. And it's because what people feel in those early records are this sort of emotional component that to the creator is almost an embarrassing thing that they use, like a feeling they no longer have.
And that was Chuck Klosterman's Leftovers. The Leftovers and Your Last Meal are both products of Seattle's Cascade PBS. We would love for you to become a Cascade PBS member. For as little as $7 a month, you can get streaming access to all PBS programming. This episode was produced by me, mixed and mastered by senior producer Sarah Bernard. Original theme music by Prom Queen. And now it is time to ABP. Always be plugging. Number 1, sign up for my newsletter, the Nosh newsletter at cascadepbs.org/Nosh newsletter. It comes out every other Wednesday and mostly focuses on the Pacific Northwest food scene. I also host a TV series called The Nosh. You can watch seasons 1 and 2 at cascadepbs.org, on YouTube, or on Alaska Airlines in the in-flight entertainment. Season 3 comes out this spring. We are working on it now, and I'm really excited for you to see it. I'm Rachel Bell, and this is The Leftovers.